Welcome back to another edition of the Wizard Shop. Today we've got in a 2015 Land Rover Discovery Sport. This isn't a customer's vehicle. This is Mrs. Wizard's new vehicle. Now, is it brand new? No, it's not brand new, but it's new to us. The ML350 is in the back. It's going to be put up for sale. We're going to get rid of it. This is the replacement for it. So far, we've been driving it around, and I'm really impressed with this vehicle. So let's put it on the lift. I haven't put it on the lift yet. I haven't looked at anything other than just a quick glance, so let's take a look at it. Well, let's take a look and see what we see. I don't expect to find too much because it has only 45,000 miles on it. That's pretty interesting. A little pressurized shock absorber looking deal. I haven't seen that before on a car. It's actually new to me. Transaxle, here's a kind of like a differential that shifts it back to the back and to the sides as well. This is an all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive type vehicle. Brakes look good. Nothing's loose. As you can see, it's dirty under here. Like we've said before, we live on a dirt road, so I think this is the perfect vehicle for a dirt road. There's a steering rack. I don't expect to see anything much leaking out of it because it's electric. I'm really liking the electric steering racks. I'm really a big fan of that. No hoses, no power steering pumps making whining noises. Not a drop anywhere, except for the air conditioners dripping all over me. It looks very simple to work on. Very easy. There's the turbo. I don't see anything that's going to be really hard to get to. That's one of the selling points for me on this vehicle. Looks fairly easy. This all-wheel drive system is made by Haldex in Sweden. Here it is, it says Sweden. It can have primarily front-wheel drive operation, and it can kind of shift back and forth and lock the center differential, which is basically right here. It locks that. And then you can go into all-wheel drive. I don't see any issues anywhere. I guess, like I said, I didn't expect to find many really, but I just like to take a look under it. I haven't looked under it yet. I can see ride height sensors, but it doesn't have air suspension. It just has springs. So I'm not too sure what the ride height sensors do. Maybe with different terrain, it can see where the wheels are at, or there's a spare. It's a full-size spare as far as diameter, but it's not as wide. About half as wide as a normal tire. Well, I don't see much to talk about. Let's lower it down and talk about some of the features of this car. In some of our previous videos, you guys have seen where there's some issues with sound quality, video quality. We experimented with some different cameras and different sound equipment, and we were very disappointed. We got rid of that stuff. We actually went and spent some coin. We got some really nice stuff headed our way. So apologize for that. It won't happen again. So this vehicle is really fairly equipped. It's an HSE model. It has heated and cooled seats. It actually has third row seating for 7 passengers. Now in the back it would be big enough for a little kid or something. I don't think an adult would want to sit back there. But it has rear AC. It has lane departure. The list goes on. There's all kinds of features on this car. There's one really cool feature that we got that on this. It has a black exterior package. It has the 20-inch black wheels. It has the black grille, the black roof, and the huge panoramic roof, which is part of the HSE package. But the styling on it's really nice. It looks really good. It's a really good looking vehicle. Now let's talk about one of the real reasons I bought this vehicle. Let's take this little cover off here. A lot of people talk about Land Rover reliability and not being very good. But if we look at this hose, it says FOMOCO, Ford Motor Company. Let's take a look somewhere else on the intake. FOMOCO, right here. Ford Motor Company. This is a Ford EcoBoost 2.0 turbo. These ignition coils are the same on a Ford Edge, Ford Escape. These cam actuator solenoids, same as a Ford Escape, Ford Edge. Any of the cars and Fords that have the 2.0 EcoBoost. The starter, a lot of the parts are going to be the same. And I started seeing dollar signs when I saw that. Cheap. I can get those parts from CarQuest. If a coil goes out, I'm not going to order that from Land Rover. I'm going to get it from Worldpac or somebody, get it cheap. If you open the hood of a Ford Edge with this motor, this is identical, identical, identical. So these engines are very reliable. A lot of you say, well, Wizard doesn't like Fords, and for the most part I don't. But there are some engines that they make that are actually very good, and this is one of them. It's powerful. It's actually faster than the ML. It would outrun the ML no problem, but get 28, 27 miles per gallon on the highway. ML, 17. Now that's probably because it's a smaller vehicle and it doesn't weigh as much, but I was really, really impressed with the power of this vehicle. They do have issues. It has the ZF 9-speed automatic. There was recalls for it just inadvertently dropping into neutral. This recall has been addressed on here, and other than that issue, there's not a whole lot of trouble with these transmissions. If you go on the Discovery Sport forums, a lot of people say, mine hasn't had any problems, neither has mine, neither has mine. I'm not going to worry about it. And sometimes forums may not be the best place for positive comments, but that's pretty much what I've been seeing on these is positive comments. So, go ahead and put this back on. Mrs. Wizard doesn't want to drive a vehicle that looks like every other cookie cutter Kia, Hyundai, Equinox out there. She doesn't want that. And I agree with her. I wouldn't want that either. So this is something that doesn't look like anything else on the road, but yet it'll be, as we've seen when we looked it over, it's extremely easy to work on. Everything's out in the open. Everything's easy to get to. It's Ford parts for the most part. I'm sure there's some parts on the engine that are Land Rover specific, but most of the parts are going, especially the water pump, things like that, that's Ford. It's going to be cheap. That really sold me on this vehicle as well. There's no air suspension. I don't have to worry about it going flat as a pancake while you're in the Starbucks drive-thru and getting embarrassed, which is quite interesting. When we were at the Land Rover dealership, I won't mention any names, but their brand new Range Rovers are sitting out on the lot out front already deflated. It's like, wow. I guess that's probably because they sit for a long time. That's probably normal, but go ahead and close the hood. The windshield on this vehicle is electrically heated, not defrost like normal cars. It has tiny fine wires that run through it, just like a Range Rover. Miss Wizard just pushes a button, melts the ice right off this winter. That's a real cool feature for her. Let's take a look on the inside. Look at this huge glass panoramic roof. My daughter just absolutely loves it. As we're going to town and going shopping, she's just looking up at the sky, looking at the birds. She just really, really loves it.
That's pretty amazing because she's a 14-year-old with her own cell phone.
Yeah, it was really pretty amazing. It's got chargers for your cell phone, 5-volt USB ports. They're everywhere on this vehicle. I mean, they're all over the place, even in the very back. Has heated seats back here. Lots of room, plenty of room. If an adult can sit back here and no trouble with having room. There's auto open and close rear hatch. Here's these tiny little seats that we talked about. I just don't know. Really, really small. I think a 5-6-year-old could sit back here. They have their own air conditioning controls. Over here, look, another charging port for an iPhone or a 12-volt and 5-volt. They got their own little world back here. It's got these buttons right here. All I have to do is push the button and away goes the seats. And if you got a big box or large something, start shoving it in. You don't have to be trying to find handles and trying to find stuff to let the seats down. You just push some buttons and they fly forward. Really, really cool. Let's take a look at the front seats in the front area. I really like the styling of this vehicle. The dash is very reminiscent of a Range Rover. If you go look at a 2019 Range Rover, it has the same material, the same nice slope around the gauges. Very, very similar styling. Leather up here. Got the heated and cooled seats. Here's the heated windshield. It's got navigation. It's got Bluetooth, hooks to your phone, all that stuff that most modern cars have anymore. It has lots of styling cues off of the Range Rover, just like the power window switches and the LR4. They're up high, up on by the window. There's a lot of Land Rover DNA in this vehicle. It has terrain response right here. There's gravel, snow, mud, ruts, there's sand, all kinds of different scenarios. So right now it's in auxiliary, just have the accessories on, so the shifter is down. As soon as you turn the vehicle on, the shifter pops up and you can put it into gear. Pretty interesting. It's got lights up here that you don't push them, you just barely touch them. These dials here are the same that you'll find in a Range Rover or a newer LR4. Hill descent, traction control off. It has auto stop and start on this, which can be kind of annoying to me. All you have to do is push a button and it turns right off. Look at it, guys. It's just beautiful. It screams Land Rover. It doesn't scream Kia. Now, no offense to people who own those, but if you're in the market for something that's exclusive, that doesn't look like everything else, with SUVs anymore, you pretty much have to go to Land Rover, Range Rover, any range of vehicles that they sell. And a lot of people made comments in my recent Land Rover video about Land Rover having poor reliability, and in some ways that's true. They're not Toyotas. They're not going to go 100,000 miles without nothing but an oil change. There's probably going to be something here or there I'll have to repair, but that's what we do here. I can get parts at wholesale cost. As we talked about the engine being mostly Ford parts, and everything's easy to get to, there's nothing on this vehicle that scares me. From front to back, nothing. And Mrs. Wizard gets free labor. Well, kind of. Well, thanks guys for following us along on our little adventure and checking this thing out. One of our next videos we're going to have is questions that you guys have about Mercedes vehicles, mechanical questions, not necessarily questions about reliability or anything, but keep in mind, guys, I can't diagnose your car over the internet. It's like diagnosing someone with cancer over the phone. You can't do that. You have to have the data in front of you. You have to have the person or the vehicle in front of you. So if you got any questions about Mercedes, you say, hey, I got this Mercedes. What's a common issue on this? Or how do you get this part? Or how do you get this part off the vehicle? I'm having issues. Post them in the comments and we're going to go through those and do kind of a question and answer on Mercedes vehicles. If any tools that I've used in this video or in previous videos, just like the Milwaukee ratchet that I used, check my Amazon affiliates page. There's all the tools that I use for sale there. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button because we have many more cool videos to come. And again, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.